Today, numerous cases of encounters with various alien and mystical creatures are known. Many such incidents remain classified, and the stories that make it to the internet are almost always met with criticism, which is not surprising since most of them are just words. But in this video, I invite you to get acquainted with direct evidence that we are not the only intelligent beings in the universe. Enjoy watching. The Fresno Nightcrawler is a very unusual Californian cryptid that looks like a pair of pants. This monster was first caught on camera in 2007 in Fresno, California, hence its name. The story of this cryptid began when a Fresno resident named Jose heard his dogs barking loudly every night. The man became curious about what was happening, so he decided to install a camera on his garage. After reviewing the footage, Jose was shocked to see a creepy creature that looked more like a pair of white pants than any animal or humanoid. The thought that an unknown creature was wandering around his backyard at night scared him, so he sent the footage to the Univision TV channel and paranormal hunter Victor Camacho. However, for a long time, no one could explain what this creature was. In 2011, the same strange creature was captured on surveillance cameras in Yosemite National Park. Since then, several more video recordings of the pants-like monsters have surfaced. Because there have been so many sightings, people have concluded that it is a new species of previously unknown cryptids or representatives of extraterrestrial civilizations who came to our planet to study it. In August 2024, Jesse Clausen and Camilla Avarella went on a hiking tour to Long's Peak in the U.S. state of Colorado. The girls had a great time and took many photos showcasing the beauty of the place. Upon returning home, the friends began reviewing their photos. In one of them, they noticed a strange object resembling a human figure. Zooming in on the photo, the girls were shocked. Inside one of the crevices, there was indeed a huge humanoid trying to climb the mountain. Jesse and Camilla shared this photo on social media. Users speculated that it could be an alien or even a Yeti. However, some people still believe the figure is nothing more than an optical illusion. The girls themselves also lean towards the idea that it was unlikely to be an extraterrestrial being or cryptid. In 2017, mysterious mummies were discovered in a cave near the Nazca Plateau in Peru, which may change our understanding of the existence of alien civilizations. The Nazca Plateau is famous for its giant geoglyphs, some of which are hundreds of meters long. They depict animals, plants, geometric figures, and mysterious symbols. It is still unknown who exactly created them and for what purpose. It is presumed that the geoglyphs may belong to the Nazca culture, which existed on the plateau between 500 BC and 500 AD. The plateau is shrouded in the mysteries and enigmas of an ancient civilization, and the mummies found near it only added to the mysticism of this place. When the remains were handed over to scientists, they immediately noticed that they were unlikely to belong to humans. The peculiarity of this find lies in the fact that the four mummies are only 70 centimeters tall and all have elongated skulls with only 3 fingers on each limb. Scientists also reported that the remains were covered with a white substance. Analysis showed it to be cadmium chloride. The antibacterial properties of this compound allowed the remains to be preserved to this day. The mummies are estimated to be between 1,700 and 4,000 years old. As a result of studying the remains, scientists concluded that they are real and not a hoax. However, it is still unknown to which civilization these beings belonged, although even the scientists lean toward the idea that they may have been aliens. These frames showing a strange creature resembling an alien were published by a user named Douglas Windsor McCloney III. According to the man, the video was captured by a surveillance camera near his cottage, located near Red River Gorge, Kentucky. The footage shows a pale, thin humanoid slowly creeping along the road beside cars toward the gorge. The creature moves in an unnatural posture for a human, and its appearance is far from human as well. Its pale skin, hunched back, and stick-like limbs suggest that it may be an actual alien. The video quickly gained many views. Users began discussing the creature and speculating about what it might really be. Some people believe it could indeed be an alien with a hideout somewhere among the inaccessible canyons. Others are convinced the video was deliberately edited with computer graphics to attract views and discussions. In 1996, a sensational incident occurred in the Brazilian municipality of Varginha, which has been called the Brazilian Roswell. On January 20th, 1996, a mysterious aircraft crashed in the vicinity of the city. One of the local residents witnessed the crash and reported it to the police. When the police arrived at the scene, they discovered not only the spacecraft, but also two strange beings. This led to the military being called in. The strange creatures didn't resemble humans at all. They were very short, with dark, almost black skin, and their eyes had a bright red hue. Additionally, these creatures emitted a strong odor similar to ammonia. The military concluded that they were aliens. Since the creatures were injured, the military secretly decided to take them to a hospital, but the doctors refused to treat them. As a result, the aliens died. The next day, two of the soldiers who had carried the small beings in their arms began feeling weak, and their bodies were covered in an itchy rash. The following day, their organs began failing, and doctors were unable to save them. An autopsy revealed that their deaths were caused by aniline, a dangerous substance for humans. Other soldiers recalled that the creatures' bodies were covered in an oily mucus, which was likely the aniline. This incident provided evidence for the theory of ammonia-based life forms existing in our universe. This unusual story, which many ufologists consider direct evidence of the existence of aliens, took place on February 16, 2014, in the forests of Mississippi. Edith and Reiner Shuttles installed a surveillance camera to observe deer and their fawns in the wild. After a few days, they returned for the equipment and were in for a real surprise. While reviewing the footage, they saw not only deer, but something that shocked them and many others who saw the footage. The video shows a lone deer entering a clearing, and a few minutes later, a strange, dim light appears behind the animal, gradually getting brighter. Eventually, it becomes clear that the source of the light is some sort of mysterious object. When Edith and Reiner first watched the footage and saw the light, they thought it was coming from truck headlights. But after seeing the strange object that soon disappeared, they concluded that it was a UFO. Ufologists believe that the footage shows a real alien spacecraft, and therefore they confidently claim that the video serves as proof of the existence of extraterrestrial life. In 2022, a hunter named Donald Bromley posted a strange photo on the internet that captured a figure resembling a naked human. According to the man, the photograph was taken while he was in an area known as Redgate. Redgate, located in the U.S. state of Montana, is considered a place with unusually high paranormal activity. People have not only noticed abnormal phenomena there many times, but have also seen humanoids. Donald Bromley had no intention of encountering aliens. He said that when he saw this figure in the dark, he initially thought it was a person. However, after shining his flashlight on the creature, he realized he was mistaken. The humanoid was completely naked, its skin was very pale and even semi-translucent, and it slightly reflected the moonlight. The creature's head was also strange, as it had a somewhat elongated shape. The hunter decided that this encounter needed to be captured. Fortunately, he managed to pull out his camera and take the picture, although it turned out blurry since the alien was trying to escape. Interestingly, after Donald took this photo, his camera's battery immediately drained. Who or what this creature was remains a mystery. Residents of the nearby Redgate settlements are convinced that it was an alien since they had often seen mysterious lights in the sky over this area. On the evening of October 17, 1973, a phone call rang out in the office of Jeff Greenhaw, the police chief of Falkville, Alabama. When the officer picked up the receiver, he heard the excited voice of a woman who reported witnessing the landing of a UFO with flashing lights. Jeff decided to immediately head to the scene. When the officer arrived, what he saw shocked him. just a few meters away stood an unknown figure resembling either a robot or a humanoid dressed in a metal suit. Jeff didn't know what to do, so he took out his camera and began snapping photos. These photos later became known as evidence of the Metal Man of Falkville. The robot slowly approached Jeff, but the officer couldn't discern any facial features. When it got about 3 steps away, the creature changed its mind about approaching the man and ran off. Jeff quickly got into his car and tried to chase the robot, but it moved so fast, jumping and running, that even at speeds over 55 kilometers per hour, Jeff couldn't catch up. The officer's photographs met with public criticism. Few were willing to believe in the existence of a metal humanoid. However, what happened in Jeff's life afterward suggested the truth of this encounter. First, his wife left him without any explanation. Then he was fired from his job, and a few months later his house completely burned down in a fire. In short, after his encounter with the metal being, the officer seemed to be plagued by continuous misfortunes. Who the metal humanoid truly was remains a mystery. Some people believe the story wasn't a fabrication, while others think it was just a hoax created by Jeff himself. In May 2024, scientists made a sensational discovery that could change our understanding of extraterrestrial civilizations. During the study of 5 million distant solar systems, conducted using neural network algorithms, astronomers discovered 60 stars surrounded by infrared thermal signals resembling alien power stations. The hypothesis of spherical shells capable of harvesting and redirecting the energy emitted by stars was first proposed by American theoretical physicist Freeman Dyson in 1960. Dyson believed that highly advanced aliens could build massive solar energy collectors around one or several stars, which became known as Dyson spheres. For a long time, this hypothesis was considered merely a speculation, but the recent discovery may change that. Astronomers identified 60 red dwarf stars emitting infrared radiation that exceeds expected emissions by 70 times. Currently, there is one main explanation for the origin of this excess heat: massive artificial structures, such as Dyson spheres or swarms, which could point to the existence of extraterrestrial civilizations. Surprisingly, sometimes monsters can be encountered even in the busiest parts of the city. Such a story happened to a security guard at Meadowhall Shopping Center, located in the city of Sheffield, England. One summer evening in 2019, the guard decided to step outside to get some fresh air. At that moment, he heard a strange noise coming from the bushes near the shopping center. The man approached the area, and to his shock, a pair of huge yellow eyes suddenly lit up in the bushes. The guard quickly rushed back to the shopping center, but after getting a safe distance away, he still decided to take a quick photo of what he saw with his smartphone camera. Meadowhall is the largest shopping center in Yorkshire, with a total retail space of more than 139,000 square meters. There are many shrubs planted around Meadowhall, but it is not a forest, so it's unlikely that large wild animals would live there. The guard showed the photo to his colleague, who suggested it might have been a fox, but the man insisted that the eyes were far too large. Unfortunately, everyone who saw the photograph with the glowing eyes couldn't determine what they belonged to, so the guard never found out who or what was hiding in the bushes that evening near the shopping center. Throughout the history of alien research, there have been numerous cases where aliens allegedly abducted people. It is believed that this is most often done by gray aliens. They are described as humanoid beings with gray skin, large heads, enormous fully black eyes, and long limbs. They can be either small or very tall in stature. People who have claimed to have been abducted by aliens always describe a similar appearance of the extraterrestrial beings. They also mention that the shorter aliens serve as helpers, while the taller ones are their leaders. Before abducting a person, aliens observe them for some time, and sometimes this occurs inside the victim's home. The creator of this video explained that he began noticing strange noises at night. He felt as though someone was watching him, so he decided to install a surveillance camera. Just imagine how shocked he was when the footage revealed figures that looked remarkably like aliens. Perhaps the aliens realized that the man had noticed them and told others about what had happened, which is why they chose not to abduct him. The Dover Demon is a cryptid that, according to legend, resides in the U.S. state of Massachusetts. The first encounter with this monster occurred in the town of Dover on April 21, 1977, at 10:30 p.m. That night, a young artist named William Bartlett was driving along Farm Street when he noticed a creepy creature near a stone fence. According to William, this monster didn't resemble any known animal and was more like a goblin. It stood about 1 meter tall. Its head had an unusual shape with an elongated forehead and jaw. The creature's eyes were quite large and glowed in the dark. Its body somewhat resembled a human's, but the fingers on its limbs were very thin and long. William didn't notice any ears, mouth, or nose, which likely means that the humanoid had none. Many of you might think that the young artist just made up this creature, but that's not the case. That same night, another person named John Baxter also saw the monster on Farm Street. John described the creature just as William Bartlett had. He said that the humanoid didn't notice him right away, but as soon as it did, the monster dashed toward the forest. The following evening, the creepy, big-headed humanoid was spotted near a bridge on Springdale Avenue, where it frightened a young couple, Abby Brabham and Will Tainter. After this incident, no one has ever seen the Dover Demon again. Who or what it was remains a mystery. In February 2023, Mexican President Andrés Manuel López Obrador posted 2 unexpected photos on his personal social media page. One of them shows a strange creature, while the other features a stone with an image of an ancient spirit in which the Maya believed. The president explained that in both photos, we may be seeing the nature spirits known as Aluxes. Obrador said he was very surprised when a railway worker sent him a photo of a creepy, semi-transparent creature that he encountered in the jungle on the Yucatan Peninsula. The president instructed historians to investigate the resemblance of the monster to depictions of ancient spirits from Maya civilization. Surprisingly, the experts were able to find a truly similar deity. They were the Aluxes. The Maya believed in the existence of tiny beings they called Aluxes. According to their traditions, these spirits lived in caves and forests. The Aluxes were invisible, but could sometimes take human form. According to legend, the Aluxes helped the Maya in the construction of their cities. The president of Mexico is very passionate about the history of the Maya civilization, so he was fascinated by this amazing similarity and the idea that the Aluxes might actually exist. This is why he decided to share such a surprising discovery on his personal page. On October 3, 2023, a truck driver named Mark was delivering goods between the cities of Edmonton and Calgary in the Canadian province of Alberta, as usual. Part of his route passed near a forest, which he drove through early in the morning. The man decided to stop his truck for a short rest before continuing his journey. At that moment, he noticed a figure among the trees. At first, Mark thought it was a bear, but when the creature came into the truck's headlights, the driver realized it was something else. A real monster stood just a few steps away from his truck. The creature was over 2 meters tall, its body covered in thick, light-colored fur, and its eyes glowed with a bright yellow light. Mark's first thought was that he had encountered a Yeti. The creature did indeed resemble a snowman, so the man decided to take a picture of the monster with his smartphone camera and quickly leave. In fact, this was the right decision, because without this photo, few would believe that real Yetis live in the forests of Alberta. However, despite this, some people still criticized the picture and accused Mark of lying. A UFO, or unidentified flying object, refers to any object in the sky that cannot be identified by the observer. These can be birds, drones, planes, and much more. In other words, the term UFO is not always linked to aliens, but the US government fails to identify at least 5% of UFOs annually. these are the ones that potentially could be alien spacecraft. In fact, there were many encounters with such UFOs in both the early and mid-20th century, and I suggest you get acquainted with two such stories. The first occurred near Edwards Air Force Base in California. In 1957, a fighter pilot spotted a strange object following a B-47 aircraft. He decided that this UFO had to be captured on film so that experts could identify it. However, it was never determined what was pursuing the aircraft, even though this disc-shaped object really resembled an alien flying saucer. The second case took place on February 25, 1942. That night, the military spotted a strange glowing object heading toward the city. The air raid sirens sounded and an evacuation began. Over the next hour, the military fired about 1,400 rounds from anti-aircraft guns at the suspicious object. However, despite this, no debris was ever found. The next day, the U.S. government reported a false alarm, but some local residents claimed to have seen a strange disc-shaped aircraft. What was it? It remains unknown, but many believe that an alien spacecraft was in the skies over Los Angeles that night. In April 2024, a NASA space probe spotted a strange object in lunar orbit, which resembled a surfboard in shape. As soon as the photograph of the mysterious flying object was published online, conspiracy theorists and ufologists immediately classified it as an alien spacecraft. However, after some time, it was revealed that the object had nothing to do with aliens. This object had been spotted before and looked exactly the same. It turned out that this unidentified flying object was the South Korean spacecraft Danuri, which was launched into lunar orbit in 2022. This unusual shape in the photos taken by NASA's space probe occurs because the two spacecraft share the same orbit, but move toward each other. Thus, even with a 3-millisecond exposure, the South Korean orbital craft appears elongated in the images. This effect can be compared to taking a photo of a running person with a slow shutter speed. On the evening of April 30th, 2023, many Las Vegas residents witnessed a strange green-blue glowing object falling from the sky. Interestingly, this light was seen not only in Nevada, but also in California and Utah. Soon, news reports indicated that the object had landed on the property of a private home. Initially, the object was identified as a meteorite, although it looked quite unusual. However, 40 minutes after its fall, a local resident called emergency services. The man was very disturbed. In a frightened voice, he reported that there were two humanoid giants, each about 3 meters tall, in his backyard. The man also described that the appearance of these beings strongly resembled aliens with large, shiny eyes and long tongues. Following this call, emergency operators immediately dispatched police to the specified address, but when they arrived at the scene, the humanoids were already gone. According to the family members, the aliens disappeared as soon as the sound of police sirens was heard. The investigation into this incident yielded no results. It's possible the whole thing was a hoax, but then what was the strange glowing object that thousands of people saw in the sky? Unfortunately, we may never know the answer to this question, as the case was closed. A hunter in Brazil decided to set up a camera in the Amazon rainforest to gather more information about the area and the animals living there. However, what was captured on film shocked him. After retrieving the camera from the jungle, the hunter hurried home to review the footage. Initially, nothing unusual appeared. A few forest animals were recorded, and then a strange creature with glowing eyes emerged. Since the creature came too close to the camera from the side, it was almost impossible to discern any details. Moreover, the filming took place at night, which also negatively affected the quality of the image. The hunter was curious to know what kind of glowing-eyed creature had been captured on his camera. For this reason, he decided to post a clip of the footage showing the creature online. Some users suggested it could have been an alien, but most people leaned toward the idea that it was just an animal. and there was nothing mysterious about the video. In the summer of 2020, a mysterious incident occurred near the Mexican city of Ciudad Valles, which frightened the local residents. A woman named Mrs. Antonia approached the local authorities claiming she had seen a real giant. As proof of her words, she provided a photograph, which you can see on your screens. According to the woman, at around 5:30 p.m., she and her husband were outside. Suddenly, they heard a loud noise coming from a hill opposite their house. At first, the couple was frightened by the noise, but since nothing else happened, they calmed down and prepared to go inside for dinner. Mrs. Antonia's husband decided to stay outside to continue observing the area. 5 minutes later, he saw a giant creature ascend the hill. The man immediately went inside and called his wife. Mrs. Antonia saw the same thing as her husband, a real giant. The couple understood that if they told anyone about what had happened, no one would believe them. So they captured the mysterious creature on a smartphone camera using maximum zoom. As a result, the photo turned out to be of very poor quality. The authorities reviewed the image and conducted an investigation near the hill. However, nothing suspicious was found. Therefore, who or what the giant was remains a mystery. As far back as 1960, Stanford radiophysicist Ronald Bracewell put forward the concept of higher galactic communities that use autonomous interstellar probes to observe and interact with various life forms, including humanity. This idea became popular and inspired many works of fiction. Despite this, scientists have yet to find credible evidence of such monitoring systems. Who knows, perhaps aliens use other methods of surveillance, such as their personal presence on our planet. Today, you can find many photos of unknown creatures that may actually be representatives of extraterrestrial races. And here is one such photograph taken in Mexico. According to the author of the photo, during a hike, he heard a strange noise coming from a cave. As he approached, he saw an unknown creature staring at him with its large eyes. The man managed to pull out his camera and take one shot before the creature disappeared deep into the cave. It is quite possible that it was an alien. Many people believe that aliens look like humanoid beings with green or gray skin, large heads, and huge eyes. This image is firmly rooted in our minds. But where could it have originated? It is believed that the little green men became associated with forest elves, while gray humanoid beings resembling aliens first appeared in the novella Maida, a tale of the future written by Scottish author Kenneth Follingsby in 1891. Inspired by this idea, in 1893, British writer Herbert Wells wrote an essay titled The Man of a Million Years, in which he described our distant descendants in a way that closely resembles the gray aliens we imagine today. Gradually, sci-fi novels featuring similar depictions of aliens began to appear. Artists also contributed to the idea, and even today, they continue to imagine what aliens might look like. However, no one knows their true appearance. It's entirely possible that aliens don't have a physical body or have a form that our eyes cannot perceive. In that case, we may never be able to discover their existence or presence on Earth. And that's all from me for now. If you liked this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and click the notification bell. Your engagement is the best reward for me. Thank you for your attention. See you soon. Goodbye.